Okay, so we're about to do something pretty unique. We're going to take a look inside the mind of a 9-year-old boy named Jayden. And how we're going to do that? Well, we have his complete digital archive, everything. And we're going to try and piece together his entire world, using only his own words.
So let's start with this one line. It shows up over and over again in his dream journal. When I started flying, I felt sadness. Wow, I mean, what does that even mean, right? It's this really mysterious kind of haunting thread that just runs through his subconscious. And for us, it's the perfect way in. It's our entry point into this kid's incredibly rich inner world.
So, just so you know what we're working with here, our source material is basically Jayden's entire digital life. And I mean everything. We're talking meticulously logged dreams, creative stories he's written himself, lists of his actual fears. And get this, his entire completely uncensored Google search history. It's a modern day diary of a mind that's still being built.
So the big question is, what can we learn from all this? I mean, by looking at this one super detailed case, what does all this raw data really tell us about what it's like to be a kid today? The anxieties, the things that influence them, these complex kind of digital feedback loops that are shaping their entire childhood.
All right, let's dive in. And we're going to start with his subconscious. We are literally going into his dreams. And let me tell you, it's a place where his real life, all his anxieties, and this just tidal wave of media he's consuming, they all just crash together. And the results are some truly wild scenarios. Okay, for example, he has this dream about an interdimensional schoolhouse. And this is just a perfect example of how his brain just mashes everything up. You gotta see the guest list for this thing. First up, someone from his actual life. His real speech teacher, Mr. Wakefield, just trying to teach a class like any normal day. But who's in the class? Well, none other than Squidward Tentacles from SpongeBob. You can just imagine he'd much rather be playing his clarinet. And boom, just like that, the world of pop culture has officially crashed the party. And it doesn't stop there. Next, a video game icon just bursts onto the scene. Yep, Sonic the Hedgehog is there, zipping around looking for his lost friends, basically turning this schoolhouse into a level from one of his own games. And then, just to show you how deep these influences go, we even get a pretty niche character from an indie game, the Gotta Sweep Janitor. And what does he do? He promptly sweeps the villain Plankton right into a dustpan. I mean, it's total chaos, it's hilarious, and you can tell it's all so deeply personal to him. But here's the thing, this isn't just random noise, Jayden's dream world is actually like a powerful processing engine. It's literally his mind's way of taking all this stuff he's dealing with, stress from school, his friendships, all the YouTube videos and games, and just trying to sort it all out and make sense of it. And this next one is a perfect example of how intense that mix can be. He writes, I had a dream about my dog Gunner was inside my TV. He chased me, my dog ate me, and I saw Gangle's sad mask from the amazing digital circus, and I woke up shaking. Whoa. Think about that. You've got the love for his real dog Gunner mixed with this terrifying fear of being chased and eaten, and it all ends with this super specific, haunting image from a web series he watches. He literally woke up shaking. That's powerful stuff. So that's his subconscious. Now, let's shift gears and look at his conscious thoughts, the deliberate stuff. And for that, we're turning to his Google search history, which really is like a real-time log of every question and curiosity that pops into his head. So after having all these wild, vivid dreams, what's the first thing he does? He turns to Google to try and understand them. And this first search here, it shows he's looking for context, right? He wants to normalize it. He's basically asking the internet, is what's happening inside my head, is this normal? And then you can see his research getting deeper. He's not just wondering if other kids have these dreams anymore. He's starting to learn the actual, clinical language for it. He's finding the words to describe these really complex things happening inside him. And then we get to this one. And this is where it gets really, really revealing. The search has totally shifted. It's moved from just curiosity to, well, it feels like a plea for control. You can feel the anxiety in it. He doesn't just want to understand his dreams anymore. He wants to know how to escape them when they get too scary. But, his whole journey of self-discovery through Google doesn't just stop with his dreams. He also uses that search bar to figure out how he sees himself in the real world. And that leads to, well, probably one of the most vulnerable and heartbreaking searches in his entire history.
And the thing you have to understand here is that he's searching this about himself. Think about that. This is a 9-year-old kid, maybe someone made a comment, or maybe he was just feeling really insecure. And he turns to the cold, impartial logic of a search engine to ask a question he's probably way too embarrassed to ask an actual person. It's a raw look into how kids process things now.
So, you have to ask, where is all this anxiety and this deep thinking coming from? Well, for that final piece of the puzzle, we gotta look at the real world stuff that's fueling this whole complex inner life. We're talking about his relationships, his friendships, and his fears. And right here in his own notes, we can see a really clear source of real-world trauma. It's a timeline of a friendship that just goes bad. It turns into a genuine threat. And this isn't some vague fear. It's a specific, documented thing that happened with someone who used to be his best friend, which, just makes it all the more confusing and painful for a kid to go through. And his social life really is a world of these stark contrasts. On one hand, you've got Immunique, who became this source of anxiety. But on the other hand, you have his best friend Hazel. And he actually writes about how she actively helps him face his fears, how she stands up for him. She's his source of safety, of stability, a real anchor against all that chaos. And it's not just social anxiety. He's got physical fears too. He keeps this super detailed list of things that scare him on the school playground. And every single one of these things, it's a little daily challenge he has to figure out how to get past. You can totally see how these concrete, real-world obstacles are the raw material his brain uses to build those crazy, surreal landscapes in his dreams. Okay, so we've looked at the dreams, we've gone through the Google searches, and we've seen the real-world stuff happening in his life. And when you finally put all those pieces together, what you see is this clear, continuous feedback loop. And I think it really helps define what it's like to be a kid today. And this cycle right here just lays it out perfectly. It goes like this. Step 1. He consumes some media, right? In this case, it's a popular web series he's watching on YouTube. Step 2. His brain starts processing it all subconsciously in his dreams. Then, step 3, he gets curious and actively researches it. He's on Google, looking up the wiki, trying to learn all the details. And finally, step 4, he creates something totally new. He starts writing his own stories, starring himself, his real-life friends like Hazel, and the characters from the show. It's a complete circle, from just passively watching something to actively, creatively making it his own. And that really brings us to one last big question. When you see a person's life lead out just like this, through their private dreams, their fears, their completely uncensored search history, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this age where we're documenting so much of our lives, maybe it's these digital footprints, the ones we aren't carefully curating for everyone else to see. Maybe those are the most honest diaries we'll ever keep, the truest story of who we really are.